The head coaching search is officially underway, Saints fans. So put on your Sherlock Holmes hat. Let's get your magnifying glass out, and let's figure out who is going to be the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Welcome to Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I am your host, Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's program. No matter where you are or how you're watching, we appreciate the Who Dat Nation for making us a part of their day for the second time in today's video output. We were doing 2 videos today. That's what we're doing in the offseason. A lot more content, which is why you need to subscribe. And if you want to find our content a little bit easier, if you just want to support the show for free, you hit the sub button, you like the video, and then just share your thoughts in the comments. Got a lot of discussion topics, and I want to hear about each and every one of them from you sitting at home. So Saints fans, let's dive on in. Let's stop messing around. Let's get straight to it. The first head coaching interview, the request, it's Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator. And really quick before we move on, I will also say Darren Rizzi also is going to be interviewing for the head coaching position. Not a lot of discussion about him in today's video. We know what he is. We know about him. He was the interim head coach over this time. So we're going to discuss the new members of the interview process for New Orleans. And Joe Brady, the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, he is the first one that was announced. And to be totally honest, I absolutely love this idea. I think that this would be an excellent hire for the New Orleans Saints. He's definitely in my top 3. Every single day, my top 3 head coaching candidates that I would personally want switches up. But I'll tell you what, Joe Brady is always in that top 3. And you know, the big part of that and a big reason is because of how damn good the Bills offense was this year. I mean, they're number 2 in points per game. They're number 10 in yards per game. Not a single metric they're outside of the top 10. This is a phenomenal offense. That's part of the reason why Josh Allen has been so good. It's part of the reason why the Bills offense has been so successful. And you can see just based on the stats, this team is really good. And Joe Brady is damn good at his job. And if you didn't know this, Joe Brady actually was an offensive assistant for the New Orleans Saints in 2017 to 2018. Spent some time under Sean Payton, didn't have a massive role, but hey, he was a part of the New Orleans Saints. And then he did actually stick around in Louisiana an extra year. He took over as the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach for the Louisiana State Tigers. In that year where Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, all those guys went and won the Natty, best college football team of all time, dare I say. Feels like that might have been the case. Joe Brady was a big part of that offense and the coaching staff part of it. And also, did you know this? Joe Brady, he won the Broyles Award back in 2019, which goes to the top assistant coach in college football. So I think that's a pretty cool, award. It's pretty cool recognition. I think it's a testament to how good of a coach Joe Brady is. He's climbed up the power rankings. He's moved up the ladder very quickly across college football and in the National Football League. And I think that he could be one of the next great young head coaches in this league. So for New Orleans, yeah, let's go ahead and bring him in and take that interview a little seriously. Another one that's coming in on the offensive side of the football, Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, also is interviewing for the Saints job. Now with Kellen Moore, he's a guy that a few years ago he was highly coveted coming out of the Dallas Cowboys offense, being their coordinator. And then he went over to the Los Angeles Chargers under Brandon Staley. That team was terrible. Justin Herbert still put up good production, but you know, now he's with the Philadelphia Eagles, and again, this is a really good offensive unit. We know that from week 3 when they actually just dusted us running on the ground. Saquon Barkley, he's really damn good. There's no question about it. But Kellen Moore has done a phenomenal job scheming plays up for Saquon Barkley. And just look at the offensive production. It's really, really good. And the Eagles have also dealt with the plethora of injuries as well. So the fact that the Eagles offense and just the team in general has been so successful despite injuries, and the fact that the offense has still been really, really good tells me that Kellen Moore might be a solid hire. And, you know, maybe he's not the best option. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's my top option. I'm not going to sit here and say he's my favorite option. And I don't think Kellen Moore is the best option for New Orleans. Like, to be honest, I think the New Orleans Saints need a coach. Listen to this. This is going to sound weird. The Saints need a coach that loves the team the way that the city loves the team of New Orleans. And they need a coach that loves the city the way the city loves the team. So in my personal opinion, I don't know if Kellen Moore is that guy. I think that he could be fine. I don't think I'd be mad about that hire. I just think that when it comes down to it, I would rather go with somebody who would be a better culture fit, somebody who can establish culture a little bit better, and somebody, quite frankly, the one big thing I do like is that he isn't a part of like the Sean Payton coaching tree. There's no history there, and I do value that part of it. But can he navigate the rebuild? Like that's the big question. We haven't seen him do too well with a bad Chargers team. So what makes us think he's going to do great with a bad Saints team? I just don't think he will be all that great. Like, personally, I think that he's a great coordinator, but is he a great head coach? Well, only time will tell. It'll be his first job as a head coach, and we'll have to see what happens. I'm not sure he can navigate the rebuild. I don't know. We'll have to see. But what kind of head coach do you want? Type O for offense, type D for defense. Let me know what kind of minded coach, because we actually have some pretty intriguing defensive coordinators that are also confirmed to interview with the New Orleans Saints. We're going to tell you about that here in just a second. But really quick, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Tushy. If you want to keep that hiney shiny, I highly encourage you to hit the link in the comments and description of this video, because finally, Tushy is the resolution that isn't a pain in the ass. Tushy bidets fit on your toilet in under 10 minutes, improving your health and saving you time and money every single time you stop, drop, and plop. I love my Tushy bidet, and I use it every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And the Tushy bidet actually is super easy to set up. You just attach it to your existing toilet without the need for any additional plumbing or electricity. It's so easy, a Falcons fan could do it. The installation is simple. All you got to do is just set it up, connect it to the water line, and voila, you got a refreshing stream of water coming up, cleaning things off, rinsing off your business every single time you sit down on the porcelain throne. Once you're done, you simply pat dry with toilet paper. Instantly improve your health from top to bottom and from bottom to top for a limited time. Our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code CHAT. That's C-H-A-T. Reminder to keep that hiney shiny. Hit the link in the comments and description of this video to let Tushy know that we sent you. And I appreciate you guys for taking care of business and keeping that butthole pretty clean. So in the weirdest transition of all podcasting ever, yeah, speaking of butthole album, it's coming from producer Jeremy Chugs. All right, the Saints have also requested, and this has been confirmed, they are going to be interviewing Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. I actually am really, really jazzed about this idea. Personally, I think that Aaron Glenn would be an excellent hire for the New Orleans Saints. I know I just said I like the idea of going somebody that's not in the Sean Payton coaching tree, but if there is somebody who's, like I said a minute ago, is going to love the city the way the city loves the team, I think Aaron Glenn might be the leading candidate for that. He played cornerback for the Saints back in 2008. He was a defensive backs coach from 2016 to 2020, so he actually had a little bit of an overlap with Joe Brady, which is pretty cool. And he did follow Dan Campbell over to Detroit whenever Campbell left the New Orleans Saints to become the head coach of the Detroit Lions, and he has been stellar ever since he moved up to the Motor City. And it's a tale of two entirely different squads. The New Orleans Saints are bottom of the league in pretty much every metric here, whereas the Lions, they don't give up a lot of points, but they do give up a decent amount of yards. They do give up them per game and per play. However, they bend but don't break. They're efficient on third down. They're the best on third down. They're top 10 in the red zone, whereas the New Orleans Saints tend to struggle on those important key downs. And Aaron Glenn will be a hot commodity this offseason. For the teams that miss out on a Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel, there's only two guys. There's two guys. Those are the top two in my personal opinion. Outside of that, Aaron Glenn is the next guy up. And I think that a lot of teams that miss out on Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel are going to target Aaron Glenn. So expect him to get a lot of interest. He's already been requested interview by the Bears and the Jets. So I think he's going to be a very hot commodity this offseason. But I do think that the ties to New Orleans do give the Saints a little bit of an edge over some of those other teams. Another head coach interview we got from Diana Rossini. It's Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. And actually, shockingly enough, hand to God, honesty hour, I didn't pay too much attention to the Dolphins this year. Just weren't that fun of a team to watch. The offense was terrible. Come to find out, the defense was actually pretty damn good. They were top 10 in terms of opponents' yards per game, points per game, yards per play, third down conversion, and in the red zone. They're really, really talented as a squad. And Anthony Weaver, I do think that he could actually be a pretty solid head coach. Is he ready yet? That's another discussion. But he was a second-round pick by the Baltimore Ravens back in 2002, and he spent time as a defensive line coach with the Bills, with the Browns, the Texans, and the Ravens. He's kind of bounced around. He spent some time in the college level. He spent some time as like a defensive assistant, all that kind of stuff all across the league. But his notable roles, defensive line coach, and then in 2020, he actually got promoted to the defensive coordinator, and so he actually got a little bit of run during that season as a DC. And then in 2024, he served as the Dolphins defensive coordinator. So, I think that Anthony Weaver could be a decent option. I'm not absolutely in love with the idea of it, but I don't hate it. Like, maybe that's something I'll warm up to a little bit more. But for me personally, I think Anthony Weaver is a coach that it's a good thing that they're doing their due diligence and bringing him in for a hire. I just don't know if that'll be the fit. I don't know. Maybe it is, but I would rather, if you're going to go defensive mind, I'd rather go Aaron Glenn out of these two. Now, going back to the offense, because when I was scripting this video, this news came in at the very last second. Mike Kafka. Yeah. The Giants offensive coordinator and assistant head coach. He's interviewing. No thanks. No, thank you. I want nothing to do with anything that's tied to the New York Giants organization. Expect the Saints to do a lot of interviews. Expect them to conduct a lot, though. Like, just because they're interviewing a guy doesn't mean that he is the guy. Like, they're going to probably interview anywhere from 8 to 10 guys, and they should do that. They should do their due diligence, do their homework. Make sure you're making the right hire every opportunity you get to talk to a guy. Make sure you got to be calculated. You got to be smart with these decisions. So for the New Orleans Saints, they will conduct a lot of interviews. There's also talk that they were going to interview with the former Stanford head coach. That's been debunked. That's not happening. So what was it? David Shaw. The name was slipping me. David Shaw. There was chatter that he was supposed to interview. Jane Slater posted it, but local media did confirm that is not happening, actually. So, wanted to get you informed around that as well. But again, expect a lot of interviews. Expect a lot of names to pop up, and you should be happy when you see that. It's a good thing. And if you want the New Orleans Saints to make the right hire, you want them to nail this offseason, hit the thumbs up icon, drop a like on this video. Don't jinx it. We're not taking any chances today. Just hit the thumbs up icon. Even if you're watching on TV, here's the deal. You take your remote, you click up 1 or 2 times, scroll over to the thumbs up emoji, just click it, and then you're done. Press the back arrow, and you can just keep watching the video. So there you go. I really appreciate you for watching today's show. Y'all stay golden, Who Dat Nation, and we'll see you tomorrow.